YouTube. Present Grushnak, I should say, chiming in again, as it tends to happen with all of the new expansions. Yet again, a brief apology for not being able to get the channel caught up in time, because I have been very busy playing in the actual ladder this season. I'm playing for tournaments. Well, for the previous season, it's ended yesterday. This time also, I can promise you that the games will get uploaded in time. All of the missing videos will get there with an accelerated schedule that hopefully I will be able to stick to more than I did last month. It should be better this time. But anyway, without further ado, how about we jump into this new pack opening with also the new limited time leader skins that we might find. And let's discuss a little bit about the new cards, a little bit about the new meta while we're at it, shall we? Let's see what we find. I haven't really decided what I will build quite yet. So, starting off with a golden. Let's see which one is it. That Sandstorm Watchworm is quite funny to me because it's just so big and the effect is so powerful, but I doubt it will actually see play, especially with Fanny rotated out by now. So, what about this? Lilum is a bit interesting because it draws a card mainly. What else? This guy probably won't see playing constructed. Reina is interesting, a bit weak but interesting, much like Altaro was in the last expansion. Semi, I think if spell boost is a thing, this might very much see play in it. It doesn't actually spell boost, but drawing 2 cards for potentially 0 is pretty good. This card, I doubt we will see anywhere. Well, maybe Evo Haven, which seems to be on the rise, might want this, but unlikely. This card is the new Rainbow... what was it called? Basically the 2-mana spell that draws a card and spell boosts a card. This is the new version of it. It doesn't draw, importantly enough, so it's a little bit weaker because of it, but... Tico might see play as the 3-drop of choice in spell boost. Although, remember, we also have the Grimoire, which spell boosts more than once if you play it on 6. And it has Rush, so potentially Tico might get overshadowed by that. But other than that, I don't think anyone's gonna super evolve it right now, but I do think this is a decent Evo target, and giving 2 spells in your hand is definitely good. Spell boost, I think, might be viable, interestingly enough. It might suffer a sword a lot. And boy, have I heard that sword is in a good spot right now, but... unless they still run Caesar, sword does not have big words, at least. What's new here? Lilith Devilish Cutie. That will most definitely replace the 1/1 that gives a ghost when it dies on the mid-range Abyss list. I don't know if replacing it in Milteo will make Milteo viable. They might lack some damage now. But in mid-Abyss, that will definitely make the list. This card might also very much make it into mid-Abyss. It does go wide very fast. Well, it's not good with Arahime though, so maybe not. If it wasn't for Arahime, this could make the cut, but as is, kind of struggling to see it. Might make the cut in Evo, but I don't know. One might think that this is just an easy replacement instead of Winged Servants, but the effect is not as guaranteed to go off, so... possible that we just see Winged Servants instead. Kimika. This is very good for Discard Dragon, I'll say. Something that many people missed about why Discard Dragon synergies used to be kinda iffy is that they didn't draw a card after discarding. So this card might make a big difference, even as an Evo target. Although Dragon does already have a lot of Evo targets. But they have the new 9-drop if you want to restore Evo points now, or this, which, you know, is also a possibility. This girl is interesting. It's a mini Urius. Is interesting for board locking purposes, but other than as a tech card, I really don't see her making the cut. Do we talk about Sasha? No, not really. Sasha is interesting to me. It's kind of the new Zirconia. I am not sure that it will take any spots with Gildaria being a thing, 4-mana Gildaria already being a thing. But I think it's pretty close. I think it might have potential, especially instead of Zeta. Because in Evo Sword in specific, Zeta has the problem that the Enhance blocks a lot of possible synergies with her. Whereas this card does not have that problem, even though only one part has Rush, if you don't Evo it. But it is an Evo target, that's pretty decent. And it covers Zeta's spot quite well. So I could see that making the card instead of Zeta, potentially. I know that might be a bit of a hot take, but I am fairly confident. Another golden. It's a bit of a tradition to open golden packs in here, funnily enough. Lots of new cards I see as well. Guido, leader of the pack. Evolves if you have Vengeance, basically, for people who remember that mechanic. Which is basically 10 or less defense. This card would be interesting if instead of Bane it had Drain. I don't know why this card does not have Drain currently. It's a big ward, but like, if you're at 10, you're just dead against Sword. You don't care about the ward. It's a cool auto evo, but I have no idea why you would play this instead of just a Destroyer if you're looking for free evos. You know, the 5 mana that summons a bat. That actually does heal you, so that's probably better. Anisage is kinda scary for a potential aggressive Abyss. The stats are a bit too low for it to be too much of a consideration, but it could see some play. It'll definitely see some experimentation, and then we'll see if it's worth the tempo loss. It might make it as a 1 or 2 off, just to have a finisher in those decks. Shared Existence. I've seen some people try this card just to have extra rally. Remember, this is 3 rally and kill something. I think the Wretches have Rush too. So it's kind of a band that also gives you 3 rally. That's an interesting card. Obviously, you have some slots on 6 already. Like, for example, you know, you used to play either Medic or Lieutenant on 6 in Sword, whichever you didn't play before, but I still see this as a possible option. Lazuli, I mean, I guess it gives you a Storm artifact, and it's an extra artifact for Scarlet purposes. I don't really see it though. I think this is way too expensive to see play. Artifact Portal already has a 3-drop. And even with the new slots being freed, I don't think this is the right card to fill them. What about Aika? It's a bit interesting. Way too RNG though, probably. It's the kind of card where someone might find a combo to break it. But remember that this card can also get back herself, unfortunately. So even if the first one might be good, I don't know about the other copies of it. Between this and Goddess of Starlight, there might be potential for some weird combos, but I haven't thought of any yet. And if you don't find that, it's just a 2 mana, draw 2 cards on Evo, which is basically Ding Dong, if you remember the card. So nothing too special. And like, good old Ding Dong has ward at least. Standard pack. Still a lot of new cards to talk about. That's cool. Now, Hato and Vince. Summon a henchman, board clear. Yeah, I think if you're gonna play this, you might as well play the 6 mana spell that we talked about earlier. I think this is a take 2 card. And don't get me wrong, it is pretty good in take 2. Seems to be a strong card there, but it's not for constructed, I don't think. 7 mana has Caesar, just to put it in perspective. Is a quite different power level. Alfeed gets Storm. This is just very weak. If you're gonna print a Storm card, this is how you should do it. I support Storm cards with 1 attack. Like, I hate Storm as a mechanic. I think it's like the worst mechanic in the game, but I can accept it in a fair form like this. Citrus, on the other hand, is cool. It doesn't fit the current Evo Forest archetype. But if Agroforest is ever going to be a thing, if Pixie comes back, this card does fit very much in it. It reminds me of Young Necromancer from Abyss. And Young Necromancer saw quite a lot of play, so Citrus will probably see a lot of play as well. This card is spell boost twice, so it's pretty much Miranda from the old Legends Rise set. And Miranda did see play on spell boost, so I'm expecting this card to at least see some play, unless we are going full hybrid with Earthright and then we're just playing the 2-drops that actually make a sigil, you know, instead of this. But this card is a cool anti-aggro tool. I think with all the new aggressive decks, it might very well see some play. In fact, I will make the call that if it is hybridized with ER, the 2-drops we're gonna see is this card and the Beastie specifically, because the ping can become very important to shut down early aggression. And they're both potentially Evo targets, so. Teresa that summons a Soul Cure Sister with Storm and 5 attack. Cool. I don't think that's the 7-drop the Haven wants. I think it's gonna play the new legendary. Even in the Evo Haven list, I think this is a take 2 card. The Spirit of Wadatsumi, which adds Mega Lorcas. I think Neptune went out of rotation though. So I'm not too sure how much this card will see play. Maybe with the crest, maybe because of the crest it will see play as like a 1 or 2 off, just so you can power up the Yube crest. I think without Neptune though, this card, well, the whole archetype is a lot worse. So maybe you just keep Yube as the Mega Lorca synergy of choice. If you just want to run that as a 2-drop that gives you a Mega Lorca, there is the 2-1 that gets Bane. That's a lot better. Bane and Rush, so it's not just sitting there. Good card in Take 2. Take 2 might have a home for that. Hey, new Stormy Blast. Glad to have you back, buddy. We missed ya. Good old Stormy Blast. Evergreen. Marsha Dark Knight. I don't see this replacing the cat. It's possible his sword becomes too problematic. It's a good tech card for that. But, I mean, just use the cat, or if sword is the problem, just use the Devotee, right? Devotee also does 1 damage to everything and it's cheaper. I don't know why you would use that. Zerg is interesting. I am not sure that you would play this unless you had some specific artifact that you wanted back in hand. But that's not how artifact synergies currently work. Although if you try to loop analyzing artifacts, maybe I could see it. It is interesting as a card draw engine, specifically for eggs, so maybe. Marlone. It's weird that it's a forest card. I will always see this card as a Haven card. I'm not sure why it's forest now. It is a good catch-up card though. I think forest tends to struggle with wide boards. It's a bit too expensive for that, but might still be worth it in some cases. Like this card is an answer to Seophon, whereas we used to only have Skipper with the Super Evo to deal with that. At least now, Seophon and Caesar are kinda doable with this. You can kinda answer them. So maybe as a one-off, it could see play. I am glad that we have an actual answer to Seophon finally. So that maybe Evo Forest can recover a bit from that freaking matchup, although Marte will make sure that probably doesn't happen, but still. A step in the right direction. Okay, some more silvers that we can talk about. Riff and Lolo Sirin Sirens. So this is obviously an attempt to replace the Merman, right? That used to be so strong in Dragon. Evo Dragon. Although with Galmio and Zoe still being in the meta, I don't really see this card making an appearance in those slots. It's cool that they give you more Mega Lorcas. I guess it's discard fodder, so maybe that will be relevant. That's like the only reason though that I can see this card ever being played is if you basically if you need extra things to throw away for your discard. Peaceful Solitude. Cute, but probably way too slow. This... I would be doubtful of this seeing play if it was a rune card that I need for spell boost purposes. In Forest? Nah, I don't think we'll ever see this. Edith, Voice of Heaven. This card is also another version of the portal card that resummons itself. At least it has aura. But word is not really a thing anymore. So I doubt... as long as we have Vera, I doubt this will ever see play. Like even in Evo Havencraft, which seems like the kind of deck that would want that card, just play Vera on the 8th slot. I don't know why you would ever play that. Alright, we have a lot of packs, so I will try to get through them while we speak. Legacy of the Brave, not much to say about this. It's cute, but it's way too random. I doubt that your opponent's deck or hand, for that matter, will have a useful card for you unless you're playing specifically a mirror. Poppy is another option for the 2-drop slot, along with Miranda and the new Miranda and the Beastie. This one's a bit slower. Actually, this will probably make the 3-drop slot if there's nothing better for it. Although if you're playing 3-drops, you might want the golden one that we saw earlier instead. Lingering Threats. It's a cute 5-mana banish. It's a cute board clear. I don't know why you wouldn't just play Blinding Fate though. I think at that point you would just play Blinding Fate for 1 less mana. And after that rotates, then this card might see play, but until then... It got even more synergy with the Crests, which is the deck that would play Blinding Fate to begin with, so... That won't see play, and it probably won't see play even alongside it, I don't think, because we also have Timepiece, right? As another board clear, or Kandima. We don't need new board clears, really. Only 2 new cards here. Earth-Shattering Bolt, which is a possible option for Earthright, but probably not more than a one-off because it's so expensive. 5 mana is a lot. It does clear aura followers, it does deal damage to the leader, so that's nice. It also does not put out targets for the opponent to be able to drain from, which could also be relevant. I don't know if you could find space for this. I might try it out, just against certain matchups that might have specific amounts of healing. But it is slow otherwise. This is you play this after you've played everything else. So like after probably your Sandalphon, after your Beloved for sure, after your Elantims. It could give you a bit of extra reach along with like Ars Magna. Or maybe instead of Ars Magna if that's ever an option. Because you can play 2 of these. Katse Magical Thief. That's a glittering gold. Deals 2 random damage. Nah, this girl has no home. That's a take 2 card for now. If they ever print a spell boost card for sword, then sure. Until then, Nah, this card ain't no way it ever sees play. I would sooner put in the bronze 2-3 as a 2-drop rather than that, because at least it increases rally for 2 to 3. Okay, another standard pack, and then we got our legendary guaranteed. Let's see what is in store for us here. So we got Leona, Overbearing Guardian. Gives ambush to a follower. Interesting. I wonder if you can break the card in any way, like Scarlet comes to mind, right? This could be an interesting option to end the game for some either Evo or artifact lists. I could see it. It's obviously very bad if you don't have super Evos, but I could see this being a possible finisher. The fact that it costs 2 is really interesting. You can play this, hit with Scarlet, and then put it back into ambush. That's kind of interesting. Silent Departures. Yet another 3-cost spell with mod. If this card costed 2, even if it was weaker, it would definitely see play. At 3 mana, you have Screaming and Loathing, you have Eldsight. I'm not seeing this. I'm really not. I guess you can use the Shadows to activate the new Ceres. But I'm not even sure the new Ceres is worth it in mode, honestly. I doubt that card will actually be run in mode. And anywhere else. I mean, I guess it's kind of a burn spell, but for 1, I don't see it. Alright, first legendary. Ooh, and it's a premium one. Okay. We had to wait all the way to the first PD timer, but we get a premium legendary for our trouble. That's very nice. Double Hamsa. That card is hilarious, by the way. I adore that card. Premium Ginger. Okay, so my first nudge is towards spell boost, it seems. Which is interesting, because being a fan of Ladika, I was also naturally inclined towards trying spell boost. We'll see. This card is absolutely hilarious, by the way. I do think it has some potential to see play, because it's very big. Remember, this is a 2-mana 8/8 on turn 4. That's quite good. And also, the art is absolutely hilarious. So, don't underestimate this card. I think it has the chance to end games sometimes. It is very much a hand check card. Primeval Fairy. This card is obviously a nod towards the aggro forest list. This card I doubt will see play in Evo Forest, even though it's a decent 2-drop, but Evo Forest already has its own share of 2-drops. So I doubt that's relevant. Oh, I didn't stop to talk about Ginger. Ginger has been considered the new Kuon in many cases, and like it has the potential to be, because you know, you can summon 0-cost followers to add to the spell boost. Obviously we'll see play in spell boost lists. Whether it'll be enough to fuel those lists, and whether it'll be enough to be an Evo target remains to be seen. But this card definitely is almost an auto include. A list has a 2 of in any spell boost deck. I don't know if you can get away with playing 3 of these. It's very possible, but it's also very possible that it might be a bit too slow, considering the pace of the other classes. I might give it a try though. If I get more spell boost cards, I'll definitely give it a try. There's also the Ladika deck, I think, right? So that should help. Okay, we already talked about Leona. Lazuli, we already talked about her as well. Slice of Domesticity. Now this is the 2-mana mod card that Abyss would want. It's in Sword instead, but Deal 4, Restore 2. You would play this for the healing. You would never need this effect objectively. You also have Banned if you want this effect. So you would use this to restore 2 when you have a decent board for it. And you know, you'd get the 4 damage as a bonus. I don't think with Gilnelis and Noel being options, I don't think this will fit the current sword decks. But it is an option to consider. It's not weak by any means, it's just there's better tools in the mainstream curve. So it is unlikely that it sees play unless you specifically want those 2 healing quite early. More Goldens. I'll never complain about Goldens, let me tell you that much. Art of Decay. Dragon card. This is pretty much the spell variation of the 7 mana board clear that we got on the previous expansion. Except this one is a single target removal. And you have to not underestimate these cards because they have the very big advantage of not putting up a target for your opponent to use to gain back life. And also, this card... Actually, no, that's no longer relevant because Flame is no longer in the format. If Flame was still in, I would say this reduces the number of followers in your deck so that you're more likely to tutor the ones you want. But Flames is no longer in, so then this card is a lot weaker. The only reason to play this is if you don't want drain targets to have a target, which, remember, Haven can now heal 10 with Gilnelis, so you very much have an interest to not leave targets on the board after a certain point. How you would do that by clearing the board as well, since this does not really clear the board, is beyond me, but this has a potential use as a tech. It's just very weak otherwise. And Michelle is a board payoff. I'm not sure why you would play this instead of the 5 mana 5/4 that has the same effect, that gives barrier. Obviously this summons an extra card, but it's also an extra mana. I guess it'll depend on curve, so if you lack 6s, you would play this. If you lack 5s, you would play the other one. This is also interesting in that it is a 1/1 ward with barrier, so this will be very annoying to get through. So maybe that's why you would play this, right? You would play this, and then have an annoying board for Cetus to come down on. Actually, I changed my mind on this card. This card has potential because of that very reason. You just play this the turn before Cetus comes down, and you have a very high likelihood of something sticking on the board. I think it might see play. If Aggro Forest is actually strong. Only Nobunaga as the new card. Female Nobunaga, apparently, for some reason. Deal 6 damage to all enemy followers, Intimidate. I will say, this card might be scarier than it looks because of Intimidate. Like, remember how many times Justice got away with the game because you couldn't clear it? Now Sword has that too. And I'm not saying that this is a prime finisher for Sword. Obviously there's Marte, which... Boy, that card, what were they thinking? But it does have the potential to steal some games. And obviously 6 damage is enough to clear most of the board. Most of the boards that any class can put up. Beloved is quite the good example of that. It costs a bit too much because 10 is a lot more than Beloved. But this card will depend on the meta, so if there's few answers to a card like this card might see play as a potential finisher. It's like an Armes, basically. You play it if you know that there's a high chance for it to steal the game. Which will depend on how many Crest or Mode or Earthright decks are around. And if Mod is around too much, that card probably won't see play, but that's fine. Nothing new here, we can just move on. like the basest of base packs. Okay, back to the Goldens. Aika, we already talked about that. Good old Hamsa. I wonder if Rally without Evos could ever use that card as a finisher. Wonder if it will catch enough people by surprise, especially in ladder. If you have closed deck list, that's a lot more likely to catch people by surprise. Okay, 2 new cards to talk about here. Giada, the Mini Forte, as I like to call her. Yeah, I am very glad that this card does not have Storm. Boy, would that be annoying if it did, instead of having this effect. Rush Intimidate clears 2 things. That's pretty nice, actually, and Dragon was kinda lacking on powerful 6s to play. Because they have a lot of 5s, but the 6 is another slot entirely. I think if you're playing this card, the Barrier Ward Girl, that's also on 6, is probably stronger. But in the default ramp deck, I could see this card being played instead of an Odin or a Black Flame, since it's a bit in between. It's a bit fragile, but it could steal some games. This is basically a Wilnas that does not require an Evo, and Wilnas without Evo is definitely interesting. Ephemeral Foxfire is a cute concept. I definitely am all for control-ish cards that just win the game on the long run. This can potentially deal infinite damage if you happen to be at a stalemate for long enough time. I doubt this will see play currently though, with the power level of the finishers that Dragon currently has, both as a discard deck and as a standard ramp deck that aims to end with Justice. Like, sure, that's a bit more damage if you play Justice already, or if you're out of Evos, but I'm not really seeing it. I don't think 1 mana for 1 damage is good in those kinds of decks, which tend to wanna end the game quickly. Okay, another Golden, which is the one we just talked about. Fiole, did we talk about this? 3 bats that get Rush for 6 mana. That's probably not good enough. Although the 3 healing is nice. The fact that it can heal and also, you know, trade a bunch of things and also give you bats for Fedial is interesting. I don't think Mod lacks 6 drops though, and I'm not even sure that Mod wants to run Fedial anymore, so I don't really see this card making it out there. Other lists have Adahime at 6, so that's not making it there for sure. These we already all talked about. Nice to see Premium Sammy. It's also nice that this card draws your opponent a card, because I remember Chaos Wielder and how OP it used to be, so I'm glad they tried to balance that somewhat. Okay, another standard pack, and then we get our legendary. Is there anything that we didn't already talked about? Apparently there is. Licorice Barbs of Passion. That's kinda cute. Although, unlike her sister, that's on 6, this card has pretty tough competition, specifically in like Mother Dweller, which is a lot more stats in an Evo turn. This card is a bit better off Evo, so if you're going first, this card is a bit better, although I think Forest might just want to stick to double 2s or a 3-drop in that case. Oh, I haven't talked about this, by the way. I'll do that in a sec. So this card, I see it less viable rather than Michelle. The rush is nice, but you would probably want to go wider. There's also the enhanced card, right? The new legendary on 4. So yeah, even off Evo, just play the new legendary and that's probably better. I doubt that this card, it has too much competition currently. Grant. 5 mana for a bronze card. Well, the bronze that had this effect and was a 4/4 with Bane. The Evo is hardly different from that. I'm not seeing this. It's an interesting Evo target for Evo Haven. But I think they have better. Like, Adjudicator comes to mind. The card that makes foxes and heals you. As a much better Evo target on 5 than this. Muel could look to replace or even be with Shift as a possible redraw card. I would play this over Shift, probably, because usually Shift lacks a second target to shuffle back. And this card at least is a 1/1, so it is not completely void on board, which tends to be nice for Forest, even the Evo variant. And I am someone who used to play Shift on Evo Forest, so I'm definitely interested in trying out that card as a happy middle ground. Okay, so legendary. Let's see what our second one is. This time not premium, but we're fine with that. Right now we're just looking to get our collection going, really. And it is Mars. Oh, it's not called Marte, it's Mars. Right. Oh boy, this card. What were they thinking, man? Not Ladika, but Erika really is back. At least they had the common sense of making this cost 5 mana more, which I appreciate. However, this card will hit you for up to 10 damage. So it's an Albert and an Amelia all in one, for the joy of everyone, every not aggressive player out there, which, yeah, I'm not thrilled. This card is pretty much an auto-include almost in any sword deck. Even Enhance could make use of this, realistically. Just buff the board with any Enhanced card that you can save, even just a slash could do it. So yeah, this card is very strong. And if sword is gonna be strong, is probably because of this. Even on its own, because Sword was already good, very good, last season, remember? So yeah, this only adds to it in a very significant manner. Miriam Reciprocator, again with Radiant Artifacts. This one is a bit more viable because at least it summons it right away. I don't think this card will be played over the new Legendary that Portal has at 7. But I guess it is a possibility. Just to get the Radiant Artifact. I still don't see it. I think there's a lot better 7 drops. Even Evo Portal has Kamishila as a 7. So probably not. But if you specifically want the extra artifact, you could use this. Although I doubt you actually want that artifact. Wills United. Neutral mode. Now this is the mode that the mod card and Mod Abyss could use. And it's an interesting one at that. Deal 3 damage is decent to increase your mod. It's definitely better than all of the previous ones we had that just drew a card. So a nice change from that. Reanimate 2 could be used by some classes. I haven't really thought of the implications of that yet. But that seems way too niche. This card is a mod card, I'm pretty sure. Even the board buff potentials. There's Alfheimer if you want to do that in Forest. And even then, I don't think either of those will be played. Okay, we are back to Goldens. That's fine with me. We got a new card, Layla. And Colette, too. So Layla gives you an ancient artifact, is the Rush one, yeah? And has Rush herself. Artifact Portal did used to lack force, so maybe this could see play for that reason. It's nice that it gives you an artifact. However, this is kinda weak overall. I could see this if artifact is going first though. So maybe as a 2-off, right? There's the potential. I'm not currently thinking about any card that artifact has that can be played on 4. Not really, at least. So I could see this fitting there for that reason. Colette is obviously an Evo card. And a quite decent one at that, I would say. You would need 2 drops to combo with this, which brings us back to Hansa potentially, but also, I guess, the new 2 drops as well. Ding Dong could make a reappearance also, because it's a good 2-mana Evo target. But yeah, this card wants either a 1 cost or a 2 cost to be evolved next to her. Usually a 2 cost. Speaking of Hamsa. The problem with Hamsa, and the reason why I'm not sure I see it with her, is that it's a very bad target to bring out with the 7 cost. But other than that, it does make for a strong board on turn 5, playing an 8-8 and a 4-6. You would be hard pressed to find an answer to that. So maybe that's how Evo Haven comes to life. That is an option, basically. The other option is to just go for card draw. We'll see which one is most effective. I could try Evo Haven. I did say at some point in the last month's stream that I was curious to see where that would go. So it does kind of interest me. Oh, Susie's new. That one's new as well. So Susie, -0, -3 to something, +3, +0 to a follower in your hand. This is obviously meant to buff ghosts, right? And it is nice at doing so. This card has a very specific home, and that is aggressive Abyss. Not even mid Abyss, because mid Abyss wants to evolve, sorry. Necromancer or Cat specifically on those turns. But aggressive Abyss, you could use that in there and have an Evo target that temporarily helps you with the board and then eventually also goes face. So this card can do both. It can deal an extra 3 damage to your opponent's face and also deal with the board in the early turns when you need it to. Amethyst Snap Time. This card is the new Homework Time, pretty much. It does not deal damage, but it heals you, and currently I think Spell Boost benefits more from healing, especially with all of the new Storm cards, oh boy, rather than dealing damage. We are missing William, which might be relevant. The William's not around anymore. However, as a general baseline, you do want heal rather than board clears. You can find board clears elsewhere, potentially. Okay, nothing new here. Premium Alfeed, kinda cool. Base pack, sure. Another Alfie to add to my collection. I'll just speed through this real quick if there's nothing to talk about. So we get to the other cards that we haven't seen. Yeah, I already talked about this. Already talked about Watch Dragon. As hilarious as it is, I don't think it'll actually see play. And I'm a bit sad of it because I like the card. There is some important segue to be made about Crystal, which with the return of Stormy Blast and the return of Homework Time, which were like the two big cards that the deck was missing, is bound to see play again, or at least experimentation. And I do think, thanks to the high amount of healing it has, that it could very well see play and could be a strong contender for the next meta. And honestly, after seeing all of the high damage potential in lists and where the new cards are headed in terms of direction, I kinda hope that it does see play again. I hope that it becomes a strong part of the meta. In that way, even if you do have all of these Storm options, at least you are punished for them by at least one deck in the meta. So I would like to see that. Because again, I really don't like Storm being a thing in the meta in general, especially not this heavily. Unsolid Days, a card draw for Portal. This would be interesting with eggs if it wasn't that Imari is still around, and as long as Imari is around, you don't want 3 mana spells in your list if you can help it. You'd much rather play more copies of the 1 cost that draws you 1 card rather than play a 3 cost that draws 2, because you can't chain the 3 cost with Imari. Not easily, at least. So that's the only reason why that card will probably not see play in egg. Otherwise, it would be decent. Alright, close to our next legendary within PT timer again. Standard pack before. Does it have any new cards? Has Alfid, but we already talked about that. He has triple Marlon, okay. I got my Marlon playset from one pack, sure. I'll take that. So, next legendary, what do we get? After 30 packs, let's see who's the next one to join our ranks. AOD. One of the first legendaries actually seen in the expansion. That's a cool little animation, I like the flames. Good old AOD can be a filler for both Artifact and Evo Portal, since it gives you 2 Evos for only 3 mana, since you can Evo your Analyzing Artifact that you get in hand. That's definitely another include in Evo decks. I don't know if it'll see play in Artifact. Probably, because it gives you an Artifact. Although, I was gonna say Artifact already has their 2 drops out, but I think Isaac is rotating, is he not? So if that's the case, AOD will probably take that place. It makes sense. But yeah, definitely very strong card. Definitely will see play in many Portal lists. Even Egg might have a use for her. Although Egg does not lack card draw or 2 drops, so that could be a reason why you don't see her. It is a possible option instead of Puppeteer, in case you need a slower list with more card draw. It is definitely a possibility. Glad to have second copy of Nap Time, by the way, so I can get closer to playing either Spell Boost or Crystal, really. Academy Hijinks. Oh, that's the name they chose for this card, huh? Draw a card. If there's an evolved ally follower, restore 1 defense, or 2 if it's super evolved. That's interesting, more for the healing than the card draw, really. If you want card draw, you would probably play the standard amulets in this spot. But this is more healing, especially if you have super evos. Which, you know, very possible after turn 7 or 8, that you have this and a super evo in play. So, interesting card yet again. This is specifically for Evo Haven, but I could see it there. It also limits the option a bit more for the amulets that Kandima can bring back, in case that's ever relevant. So that's one way where I could see play in amulet. Otherwise, I doubt it. You would very specifically replace like Coward with it to not have it pollute your draw or your pool, or maybe World of Games, could easily be replaced by that, so that you don't have too much card draw. There's possibilities, basically. Another Nobunaga. And double Teresa as well. Kratos, that's the card I was thinking about a while back that resummons itself for Portal. Obviously a take 2 card mostly. Alright, that is the end of our free packs. I got them all, even from the mission, even from the dungeon this time. That said, we do have a lot of gold to go through with our non-free packs, so we're definitely far from over here. And I do want as many packs as possible in the first days, so that I have to craft as little as possible afterwards. Lots of standard packs here. My luck for this expansion hasn't been the best. I didn't really get any early legendaries or double legendaries. Although, you know, there's definitely still a lot of time for that to change, so very early to say. And I did get a lot of golden cards, which is definitely decent. A lot of premium cards as well. Second premium Jada. That is interesting. Alright, almost to our legendary, to our next legendary. Let's see here what we get. Just an even split, interestingly enough. 4 silvers, 4 bronzes. But nothing too exciting here. Itsurugi and Taketsumi. I've been looking forward to trying that as well. Let's see if the game will allow me to, by giving me at least one of them. Our next legendary is another Mars. So getting a lot closer to building the new sword deck. I'm missing Bunny and Baron though. I know the new lists play that as well. Or at least the lists that are currently going around here. Having 2 Mars though definitely helps. I have 2 legendaries out of potentially 6. That's definitely a lot closer than Spell Boost, which only has 1 new legendary. Well, I have only 1 new legendary out of the 6 that are probably played there. Although I'm not sure that Ladika would be played as a 3 of, because it's very heavy. It's true that you kind of want to have her ASAP, but you very much could break by running 3 of them. So, I don't know. I don't know if I would run all 3 of her. I think both Sword and Spell Boost have their deck, so which one I redeem will depend on which one I am closest to. And obviously, as a consequence, which one I am trying out first in the new expansion. Another even split, that's kinda nice. 4 and 4. I have a full playset of Shared Existence by now, in case I wanna try it in the new sword deck. Ah, that's what I'm talking about. An early legendary this time. Alright, alright. Definitely grateful for that. We are starting to pick up the pace. That's nice. Ephemeral Foxfire. Another Giada and... Ah, Itsurugi. I did just mention that I wanted to try mode. So this is what many people call the new Ginsetsu, because it is a double mode card that happens to also give you an evolution point if you go for that mode. So you can get back an evolution point, clear the board almost, and then choose to either draw or get some mana back. Or you can heal and damage the opponent's leader. So this is a very versatile card with a lot of cool effects, and definitely makes up for Ginsetsu potentially, if you have Shamnacha active at least. If you get all 4 of the effects, this card is pretty broken. So yeah, looking forward to trying that, I will say. Mode was always fun for me, although I often got stumped on how to play it. But how to build it, rather. And looks like we will have a lot of options this time around as well, which is definitely fun. And also mode is one of the more controlling archetypes, which is definitely gets extra points from me. I would much rather use control cards than just go face mindlessly the whole game. Journey Ahead. This card is very interesting. Recovering 1 evolution point is very big. You would need to go for some hybrid with between Artifact and Evo though, which I'm not sure how viable it is. It sounds possible, that's for sure. But remains to be seen whether this card is worth it. Whether playing that card is worth hybridizing the deck that way. The other option is obviously to lean fully into one archetype or another. And I don't think Artifact requires extra Evo points, so that would be specifically for the Evo Portal variant. Definitely interesting to try out though. Eldax is very similar, but recovering an Evo point tends to be a lot better than just a free Evo on a random 5 cost. Golden. Sure. Wheels United. Already talked about that card. Already talked about Hansa as well. Have the full premium playset, I'm pretty sure already. So if I want to try out that card, I definitely have the means to do it. Nothing too exciting here. Everything that we already talked about. Ooh, premium early legendary. Nice. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's definitely very lucky. I am done complaining about luck from this point onward. I think, ooh, I am definitely not gonna complain about luck from this point onward. Let me tell you that. They went at me with the old switcheroo for the new leader, huh? Eudi or Lilantim? Which one would I want? Probably Eudi. I already have a Lilantim leader, that's cool. I'm missing a Portal one. So I would get Eudi if I had the option to. Do we also get a legendary? Probably not, right? No, that's fine. I will be content with my leader ticket. And let's see which one of the two it is. I think it can only be one of those two because of the limited time promo, right? So, Eudi or Lilantim, which one is it? And it is Eudi, like I asked. Ooh, thank you, game. Definitely grateful for that. Definitely taking the leader too, because I am missing a Portal leader, so. Alright, alright. You know, we started a bit slow. However, I will raise my hands here. I cannot complain any longer of my luck within this pack. I could find no legendaries at all. in the rest of the packs, and I still will have no right to complain. So I will not. I will rest my case. I will not press any further. For more luck, I will not yank the chain. I am content. I can craft the rest of the legendaries if needed. Okay, golden. We are back to the standard. Amethyst Snap Time. Glad to have all three. Now I know that I can play Crystal. Almost surely. Because I think that's like the only new card. Well, if you don't include Stormy Blast, which is not really a new card. The only new card that you would need to at least try out the list. Edith, we already talked about that. Stormy Blast, obviously talked about that as well. And now the next legendary. Let's see what we get. Now that I have Eudi, I'm kinda inclined to try Evo Portal as well. Ooh, and we get Olivia. Now this legendary kinda surprised me when I first saw it. Because recovering Super Evo is definitely very powerful. Now, considering what we know about the expansion currently, you will get smacked if you use this card one way or another, like either Sandalphon or Marte or whatever, or Mars, or whatever other Storm follower will get you for using this. However, if you can catch back up afterwards, such as like with a Gilnelis if you're Haven or something similar, that might definitely be worth the cost. I'm looking forward to trying this card in some lists. I'm not sure that it will end up being useful in any of them, but it is a cool card to have, and surprisingly, I don't think it's overpowered. As much as the effect would have felt overpowered to me if you had brought it up to me in the other expansions, honestly. Right, Alabaster Bahamut is also something I am kinda missing. Oh, maybe I called it? Early legendary, let's see if I am that good of a player. I am definitely glad, no matter which legendary it is. Ooh, and it's Ladika. Tetra and Ladika. Bringing me closer to the spell boost list. Interesting. This card is very strong, by the way, in case you were wondering. 18 potential damage with one card, no matter how difficult it is to spell boost, is very strong. And we are talking harder than declimb effort of spell boosting, and we don't have Kuon anymore. So declimb had the option to play it early for some amount of mana if you really had to. Ladika does not really have that option. Ladika is 20 or pretty much nothing. You can clear the board if you have 10, but that is going to be very subpar unless you have another Ladika to finish off the job. Because you clear the board, you deal 5 damage by your spell boost, so you're probably only dealing damage that way. Therefore, you don't really want to just do that for no reason. You're wasting a lot of mana just to clear the board. You're not healing, you're not spell boosting anything that much. New legendary though. Let's look at that. But yes, that is what the main point is. You don't really want to play Ladika if you're not at 20. Third Mars. Okay, so I'm not getting that deck anymore. I already have all of the Mars I needed. I only missed the other legendary now. And this does bring me even closer to the sword list. So if I get any Bunny and Baron, or if that's the only card I need to craft for this to work, it is definitely an indication that I might want to try Sword as one of the first lists. I already have Crystal, so I might start with that. And I already have Evo Forest, so I might also want to start with that. But yeah, the main candidates are those. If we're talking strictly new decks that are seemingly viable, it's either that deck, the sword deck, or spell boost. And then there is new Evo Portal, which I might miss more cards though, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to play Asher or not. It is definitely a good option to have. It's a lot of storm damage. Ebb and Flow. Oh, did we not get that card yet? Ebb and Flow. Select a card in hand and return it to deck. Draw 2. If you luck Super Evo, reduce their cost by 1. Many people have called this card RNG and potentially broken. I'll be honest, I have no idea what you want to discount. And if you're not discounting, this is pretty much a Kukishiro card only. It doesn't even have a mode, so like, why would you play this in mode? I don't know. I am not sure why you would ever use something like this in most of the Abyss decks that are around. I guess you could make the argument to try the new Ceres for an Abyss deck that's completely off the rails and different from what we have right now. That would be fun. I would be on board with that if you managed to do it, but until that becomes a thing, I doubt that that card is gonna be relevant. I think it's a cool effect to have. I don't think we'll see it in the new meta right now though. Standard packs. All good, all nice. Like I said, I got OD, I can't complain. We got a few more legendary still guaranteed that we can get. I think it's at least 2 of them, if I'm counting things correctly. Actually, maybe it's a lot more. No, it's not that much more. I have what, 10k, right? So it's... yeah, it is pretty much 2 legendaries. But that is still a decent baseline. Oh, especially if we get 1 more for free. Thank you, game. It's definitely a good baseline to start testing things. Tia, Eternal Crystallian. Now this is the 4 cost that I was talking about that you could play instead of the other ones. It's a lot less stat immediately on the board, but it does give you a Storm Follower in hand, which I'm sure any aggressive list will like. I don't know if this will see play in the aggressive deck. I guess it is an early buff, so that's probably why we'll see play. You can just play your early 2-drop, and if your opponent doesn't answer immediately, which most decks can't do that comfortably, you just buff everything and try to take over the game on turn 4. And if not, you still have a Storm Follower that you can follow up with. So I think that one will see play in the aggressive Forest deck, which is why I don't think the other 4-drops that are not Mother Dweller at most will see play in its place. Okay, nothing new here. I believe we've already talked about all of this. I am missing the 7-cost legendary from Haven for trying the Evo Haven list. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a staple of the deck. I can craft it, definitely, if I'm looking to try that. The other Haven legendary, I can't currently think which one it was, but I'm also not sure that it is required. What was the other Haven legendary? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Might be probably not a legendary that's for Evo Haven. Maybe that's why it's slipping my mind. I'll have to double check later just to see if I need it or not for the deck. Another golden. I would be surprised if I don't already have all of the goldens in the deck, in the set. Though I don't think I have exactly a playset of all of them. Probably close, but not quite playset. Not of all of them. I'd rather not craft golden cards, but then again, I might as well, really. If I have to, it's not like I'm missing the vials to do so. I'm quite free to try out any card I want. That's also the nice part about this game that no one seems to really talk about is, as long as you play somewhat consistently, you will have resources. You don't need to spend the actual money on this game. Oh, another free legendary. Okay, I think that's on the 5k mark, so we are guaranteed another one after this, conveniently enough. So that's very nice. Ooh, Cetus. Okay, that is a small nod towards aggro forest. However, with only one Cetus and one of the other one, I am not too inclined to go after it. I think if I do try it, this will be one of the latest lists I try. I think I might leave figuring this one out to the other guys in the game, the rest of the community. I am not too interested in doing that. Yep, and I am at the 5k mark, so I am guaranteed another legendary. Golden, interesting. I wonder if Evo Abyss will still be a possibility. Or even mid-range Evo Abyss. I think that ship has probably sailed by now, unfortunately. I don't think we will get to see that any longer in the meta. We'll see. I might try to think up something, but I think the other classes just are better as an Evilist now. Which is kind of sad because that's the deck I got to Beyond with, but we move on, basically. The game changes, it's how it's been for any game, really. It's part of the beauty of it. Whether it changes for better or for worse, which we still have to see, but it definitely changes. Oh, I'm missing Lumiore for the discard package, am I? The dragon sign that also discards. I should probably get that before I tinker with discard dragon. That's fine, I have enough lists to tinker with as is. I would say I'm not complaining. Or rather, I would say that I have nothing to complain, really. Alright, we have 5 packs left. Early legendary. This time we're not guaranteed a last one, but I will definitely take a legendary coming up early still. I'm definitely thankful for it. And it's... oh, the 7 cost I was talking about. Okay, hello. Now this brings me closer to the Evo Haven archetype. This is the quote-unquote nuts card that could bring Gilnelis to heal you for 10, potentially. So that is an interesting card for a defensive evolve list. I could see it as an answer for, as an antidote really, for all of the storm damage that we're gonna get this set, and the wreck damage in general. We'll see if that option is enough to make the deck viable though. I am not sure that the rest of the list is as solid as that card and Gilnelis, really. I'm a little bit hesitant. Also, there is potentially a crest for Cresthaven, but I doubt it'll make any difference. I don't think Crest will be especially viable this season, unfortunately. I think we have seen the last of Crest last season. Because after this season, it's gonna move on, right? So, very threatening aura in the animation for Oda here. That is definitely cool. I might try a one-off of Oda just to see if it can steal some games. Oh, we do get one last legendary. All right. That was unexpected, wasn't it? Glad to see it. Let's see what we get here. Last one is Zoe. Oh, that's the other Haven legendary. That's right. That's the one I couldn't remember. This one actually, it does pertain to Evo Haven, because you can Evo the Zoe to get a crest, right? And then you get a double Evo because of it. You get one Evo this turn and one Evo the next turn. So yeah, you can play this in Evo if you want. It does also heal you if needed, or clear the board, or I guess deal damage to the leader if you need that. But yeah, does this have ward? No, not really. Still, double Evo. Joins the crew of 5 cost 2 Evo targets that all the other classes had. I guess that's the other option for turn 5 Evo, right? You go Zoe instead of the 2+3. That's definitely a possibility. And then you enable double 3 the turn after for free. Anyways, last pack, standard pack, as is tradition. We're gonna make the very ending the most anticlimactic possible. So that is it. Alright. We get a premium bittersweet departures to look at as the very last card from this pack opening. Alright, so with all of the packs out of the way, we've officially opened 90, almost 90 packs. I believe it's 83. And more to come. Well, not necessarily in the YouTube, but more to come when I get other rewards. Actually, let's see if I get extra gold real quick, because we might squeeze in an extra. Yeah, see? One extra pack. Okay, so it might just be the one, but at least it's better than nothing. So that was not quite the ending of it. There is one extra pack that we still need to get. Chronicle of Destiny. Oh, you get a lingering threat with the actual people still there. That's cool. Okay. Alright, just kidding. This is the very last pack. Let's see if it's anticlimactic as the last one. Yep. Without fail, but that's fine. That is fine, I think. We got enough legendaries, enough cool stuff to get us started in the expansion. I officially believe that I'll be starting with either Sword or Crystal or Spell Boost. That's gonna be my 3 main choices for now. I could go for Mode as well. That might be another option if I don't need any more of the other legendaries that Abyss has. And with that out of the way and our collection stocked, oh, I'm supposed to... I will show me redeeming the ticket, don't worry about it. Just get to see all of these cards paid in the meantime. Still a few legendaries missing, but that's fine. I am missing Ceres, that's right, that is the other legendary. I don't think it'll specifically be on mode though. So maybe that's fine. 27 premium cards already. That's quite a bit. Very nice, very nice. There we go. Now I have an AOD as well. I think we can call it a day and we can call it a video. So stay tuned in the next stream for the new season playtests. And if you're looking for a link for the stream, it's down below in the description. I hope you enjoy your time in the expansion as I will try to do. I will see you in the next video or the next stream. Bye everyone. As always, it's been a pleasure.